million allocation over a 4-year period for investments in programs aimed at countering violent extremism, and also the $21 million over 4 years of programs that were announced in February this year, which are aimed at developing new measures to challenge terrorist propaganda online. Deputy Speaker, the federal seat of Cornwall is one of those electorates that, for better or for worse, is very much at the centre of a lot of the focus from government in relation to keeping Australia safe from terrorists and extremist propaganda. Such has been the case in my electorate that over the last decade or so, we're pretty familiar with being the centre of attention from a whole series of government services. This one in particular is of concern to us. So in relation to those programs, and given the nature of my electorate, I was actually quite concerned about a report that I saw, or an article that I saw on the weekend in one of our one of the Melbourne papers, which raised concerns from some ethnic communities and community leaders about the allocation of the de-radicalisation funds, and in particular the funds that are associated with the counselling services known as Living Safe Together grants. Now, I'm concerned about it because we are talking about the allocation of a lot of money into programs that are meant to deliver successful outcomes. So just some of those concerns, and I'd like to refer to them today, some of those concerns that have been raised, in particular from Dr. Burhan Ahmed, who is a very high-profile Australian of Eritrean background, and he is involved with the African community in Melbourne in a very comprehensive way. And he's raised concerns about the African community having missed out on receiving grants under these programs. And his concerns basically are that some of the allocations and some of the organisations that have actually received grants are not known. And he's raising not known, or there's no accountability. If not accountability, certainly there's no transparency about who's receiving grants, and there is an element of secrecy, according to Dr. Ahmed, about the allocation of these grants. And I think when we are looking at funding programs that are meant to deliver outcomes that are for the broader collective good, when they are referred to and described and alleged to be perhaps secretive or not necessarily going to where they should be going or to the groups that they should be going, I think you have to be a little bit concerned. And I certainly am concerned, and I understand the Islamic Council of Victoria has also expressed some concern in relation to the focus of the grants, that perhaps they are, I'm not saying rightfully, they probably rightfully are focused at countering violent extremists, but there is a group within the centre that requires some attention. So I'd like to speak about some of the activities and initiatives in my electorate from my own community, from within the Muslim community and my own organisations that don't draw on government funding and won't be relying on funding from these programs, but nevertheless they are aimed at doing exactly what funding in the counter-terrorism programs aims to do, and they do it in a very different way. And I did have the opportunity on Friday to attend to the sod turning of the Kuba Mosque, which is being built in my electorate. The Kuba Mosque is a mosque that's is being built in Somerton on the Hume Highway. It belongs to an organisation whose prime focus is investing in education, in the education of young people. The organisation believes that educating children, providing knowledge, is the core of helping young minds develop into positive citizens and therefore into wanting to do good in the community as opposed to being destructive. So we expect that the mosque will be ready and completed by the end of next year, but associated with the mosque is also the Islamic Sciences and Research Academy, which provides degree course, an online degree course in Islamic Studies in conjunction with Curtin University. And it is a very novel and important way of teaching classical Islamic studies here in Australia. It will provide a Bachelor of Islamic Studies, and it will also provide a Master of Islamic Studies. And in this sense, in conjunction with Curtin University, it will give people an opportunity to learn about Islam in a positive way as opposed to it actually counters the narrative. Its aim is to counter the narrative of the fundamentalists and of the recruiters. And I think that I think that this approach, the one of teaching through education, is a very important approach. And some of the core principles of the Islamic Sciences and Research Academy of Australia is to help young people develop a sense of sincerity in their intentions and in their actions, to encourage positive action in every situation, to serve God and humanity, to behave in a manner of excellence in both practice and outcomes, to provide for them a sense of balance in life and in the way in which they conduct themselves, and to also give them an opportunity to learn to integrate or to build relationships with a broader community. So the Kuba Mosque and the Islamic Sciences and Research Academy of Australia are initiatives that come from within the community. They are an excellent example of how the community can take it upon itself and initiate those very important relationship building that is helpful to young people. Young people today, whether they are of Muslim background or whatever their backgrounds, young people need good, positive mentoring. They need guidance, and they need to be assisted in working their way through the development of their sense of self and their identity. And at the core of some of these disturbances that we read about is a sense of not belonging and not understanding who they are and what their place is in the broader community. And so I'm very pleased that I have organisations in the Federal Seat of Cornwall that are dedicated to providing excellence in education and are genuinely committed to mentoring and helping young people. I also want to raise the Australia Light Foundation, which is a similar organisation in my seat of Cornwall, again committed to the same objectives of educating and helping young people and mentoring them as they work their way through their education process. This afternoon in my electorate, Deputy Speaker, one of my Muslim schools, the Ilim College, which is a very large school of about 1,800 students, held a forum where it invited participation from other local schools in the electorate. Their aim is to reach out to students in some of the other neighbouring schools and to try and establish communications and relationships, because it is very important that young people are not stereotyped and therefore made to feel that there is something peculiarly different or about them, or that they are in some way a threat to the community, because there is a self-fulfilling prophecy in that sort of attitude. And it is incumbent on all of us, and that's why I'm very proud of my local community, because they understand the need for young people to belong, and they also understand the nuances and the difficulties that young people face, and they're taking it upon themselves to raise their own funds and to invest not only in buildings but also in content. And I am very pleased to be representing a community that often is maligned and is very much in the spotlight for the wrong reasons, but it is a community that I know well, and I know it's a community that has taken control of the stereotyping and is seeking to find a way through it in order to help young people, not just from within the Muslim community in my electorate, but also to reach out to the broader community, to the neighbourhoods, and hopefully set an example of best practice in genuinely countering extremism and helping young people and countering that narrative, especially the online narrative, which seems to lure young people away from their homes and into dangerous pursuits of the many that we read about, unfortunately, in recent times. So while on the one hand, there's a lot of money being allocated in the budget for this kind of work. Certainly the previous Labor government, under the program Building Resilient Communities, also allocated a lot of money in these programs. We must be very careful that they are not, they're not tainted by the sorts of allegations that we read on the weekend coming from members of the African community and the Islamic Council of Victoria. The idea is not to make communities feel that they are being left out. You need to balance that. You need to balance it being inclusive, and especially when you're talking about funding of that nature, $40 million over a 4-year period, you'd want to think and believe that that money will be money well spent and it will actually deliver results. So I'd like to think that we are, my community can actually offer some advice and guidance even to government generally about how to pitch the message and how to how to better spend that money. So I raise that in the context of an issue that is very important to my local community. Jobs and health and childcare are many other areas of concern to me. I don't have enough time left this evening to go into those issues, but at the core of helping communities lies a sense of purpose, opportunity, education, being able to find work, and in particular with young people in an electorate such as mine, which is a very high youth unemployment rate, if we can address those issues comprehensively, we might find that we don't have to spend as much money on building resilient communities or countering violent extremism, because young people will have a purpose and they will have a focus. And this is the focus that the Islamic Sciences and Research Academy of Australia and the Australia Light Foundation and Ilim College and many other organisations of Muslim faith in particular in my electorate, this is the focus, or their focus. It's about reining in the commitment of young people and their focus onto things that are positive and help develop self and awareness of self and identity in a positive way, so that they can make positive contributions to the community, so that they can also then be not be vulnerable to the narrative of the extremists and be lulled away from the safety of their homes and their neighbourhoods to places on the other side of the world, which are, as we all know, places of violence and evil, quite frankly. So the challenge is there, the money is there, the will is there, and my only concern is that the money and the funds go to organisations that would actually deliver the results that need to be delivered in order to keep Australia safe and to keep our young people focused on working their way through the integration process, which is very, very important in their understanding of self.
The question is